Welcome to Magic in the Ordinary, where we talk about incredible things in everyday life. Today, it is an honor and a joy to welcome an entrepreneur, adventurer, and co-owner of Schneiders Co, Stephen Schneider. Stephen, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to talk about the ideas that Hannah and I have and how we built Schneiders Co, how we think about the world, and how our business has developed. So it's very, very special to be here with you. So thank you.
I'm so excited. Can you just tell us first off about a little bit how you started your company, why you and Hannah started this, all those good things?
Yeah, it definitely started, I think, separately before we got married, and just who we were becoming as people as we experienced a love for God's creation in the outdoor world. Both Hannah and I, separately growing up, were introduced to the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, which is untouched, pristine wilderness in northern Minnesota here. And that time, I think, really helped us see the world and the beauty of God's creation that's all around us. And then as we got married, we've been married for 8 years now. And so as we've gotten married and kind of brought our life together, we've started experiencing God's creation in the outdoors together. And that was, through backpacking trips, seeing the breathtaking beauty of Yosemite. Even our engagement was in Zion National Park. I proposed to Hannah on the top of Angel's Landing, which is just an absolutely breathtaking view. This beautiful creation that God has really designed for us. This world that we live in is incredible. And then that dramatically changed when we started having children, and our ability to take, let's say, a backpacking trip for a week with a newborn or, a toddler and a newborn, it just evaporated, right? And so all of a sudden we were kind of left wondering, well, how do we bring the beauty of God's creation into our home? And then concurrently, as we're building our home, we're looking around us at the items that are in the world around us that are made, that are there for us to purchase, to build a home. We bring these things into our home, and the one that sticks out to me that I remember, Hannah and I bought a house, and I had a great upbringing, and I have wonderful siblings. We had a wonderful family life, and one of the pinnacles of our family life was very long, like extendedly long dinners at a dining room table that my parents purchased. And I remember vividly because the place they purchased it had cookies. So me as a young boy was like, I got a free cookie and my parents got this table. And so they bought this table and brought it home. And then we spent, in the middle of 5 kids. So all 5 of us around the table for hours at a time with spoons and knives. And, we're rough on it. I've got 3 brothers and it took a beating. But here it is, 25, 30 years later, that table is still a pinnacle in my parents' dining room. It's a solid oak table, and it has so many memories in it. And Hannah and I wanted to bring a piece like that into our home. So we walk into the same furniture store that I had gotten that cookie as a 5-year-old boy with all intentions of buying a table. We are going to buy that dining room table for our family. Okay. Right? We've got this beautiful upbringing that we've got. We're going to bring that into our life. And I could not have been more disappointed.
Oh.
The array of cheaply veneered tables and chairs that were at a very high price point were unbelievable. I could not believe it. I thought, I can't spend $6,000 on a dining room table for me to then go every single time, because we had one son at the time, was like, Max is going to grow up and he's going to take a spoon out. And I'm like, you can't touch the table. You can't touch the table.
Yep.
Right? And so my idea of these beautiful encounters as a family around the table, it shattered. I was like, I'm going to be so concerned about this cheap table that's going to be destroyed at one time that we won't enjoy our meals together. And so I had, again, we had every intention of buying a table, and we left so disappointed. And kind of through some other turn of events and some things, I ended up making a table.
There you go.
Because I was like, well, I could totally do that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we could source the wood. So we've got a solid hardwood table that has now supported our family for, 6.5 years and many more to come. And now with the 4 children around the table, we have those moments. Dinners are much quicker, but again, the kids are beautiful. We have wonderful conversations around them. And yeah, it's got some great patina from the spoon marks and the knife marks on the table. And it's weathering all of those just as I remember my parents' table as a kid. So again, that experience of the outdoors, Hannah and I separately and then together, the beauty of God's creation, and then this fatigue around the items in our life.
Yeah.
Wanted to buy a dining room table. It is meant to sit around and enjoy a meal, and it could not, in my opinion, fulfill the basic function that it was intended for, because it would have been destroyed and we would have been distracted from those meals. And so we were fatigued by all of these things, and there's many other examples in our life of the fatigue that we were feeling. And so we started to think about what things we bring into our life and how we approach the items that we interact with on a daily basis. And those two things brought us to Schneiders Co. And then we saw Tallow skincare, which is one of our main products that we make and produce. We saw that as an ability to really encounter God's creation with the natural ingredients that then we, with our intellect, can formulate and put together, and then provide to the people around us, that it truly is a product that fulfills what it is intended to do. It's intended to help us nourish our skin, and it does that. And then after that, we then started kind of adding additional products and things, and the journey kind of started from there. We had a friend of ours who, shout out to Lauren for going to the farmers markets. She was selling sourdough at the time, and she's like, sure, I'll bring some of your tallow. And it really started to kind of take off from there. Wow. And the vision kind of grew from there as well. So that's really how we got started.
Just wanting things that last and that work as they're intended.
Yeah.
Okay, that really hits home for me, because I've seen this in so many, like you said, the examples of where something doesn't work the way it's supposed to is like endless. And I've seen this a lot in fashion. Like, I've been very frustrated with buying clothes that just like, they're like one-use clothes. Like, they fall apart after a little bit. And it's like, these synthetic fibers don't always hold up the way like a wool scarf would. Like, you get a different scarf and it will just like fall apart. And it's like, it can't even do the job it was originally intended to do. So it is interesting seeing like that for a kitchen table. And I love that kitchen table. Like, I was like, lots of good memories around even your parents' kitchen table of just like, this is where memories are made and this is where community comes together. And that's, it's really beautiful to hear how like that's how it started. That's
yes.
Exciting.
Yep. Yeah, it's been very fun.
All right, you mentioned tallow, and this is kind of, I feel like it's starting to trend a little bit in the skincare world, but it's still fairly a new ingredient. So I wanted to know if you could like break that down, like why do you use tallow, and then if there's any other ingredients you wanted to cover too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, tallow is our primary ingredient for our skincare, and what we really have found by using it is that, again, it's rendered. I'll go all the way from the beginning. So it's from a cow. It's cow fat, and you render the cow fat down. And once you render it down, it turns into suet, or not suet. I'm sorry. The suet is rendered into tallow. Okay. There we go. So there's the terminology, and there's a couple different nuances. Again, it's so funny because I'm so deep into it. So it's like I've got all these little nuances, but essentially it breaks down into the fact that a cow has two types of fat on its body. Okay. It has trim fat, which is really, there's a lot of it on a cow. I mean, a cow, very large animal. It has a large storage of trim fat. Okay. We find higher oily content. It's a softer product. And then there's another kind of smaller cavity of fat that surrounds the organs. So the liver, the heart, in the cow. And that's where the body of the cow directs all of its nutrients. And so we've found that we get the highest quality product by sourcing only the suet. And that is one of those differentiators and questions that I love when people ask. Like, where do you get your tallow? What kind of tallow is it? Because that shows me that they are thinking well about the ingredients that they're putting on their body and that they're bringing into their life. And I go, thank you for asking that question. Because the suet definitely provides us with the highest quality product from a skincare standpoint. And what we've found as we've gotten into the ingredients is that we are focused on taking the beauty of God's creation and having the naturally occurring elements elevate our daily moments. So you think about that just simple moment of moisturizing your skin. Mm-hmm. I know that, yes, I've sourced the tallow from the suet, the highest nutrient dense content of the cow, from a cow that has been responsibly raised. And so we've been introduced to this network of farms that raises their cows regeneratively. So again, they're stewarding the land as God really intends us to take care of the land, to behave with the land as the land ought to be cared for, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to just manhandle the land with, say, fertilizers or poor crop rotation, things like that.
Okay.
And so they're actually leaving the land better than it was by rotating their cows and then feeding their cows naturally in the pastures during the summers and then feeding them hay during the winter. And so they're 100% grass-fed and finished.
Okay.
And so that gives us the highest quality product for us to then feel great about elevating the moment of moisturizing your skin to the maximum, to the most that we can. And Hannah and I are obsessed with the details like that.
Yeah.
We love it. And the more you find, the more you go, wow, the world that we live in is so abundant and so beautiful. If we ought to care for it well, it can provide for all of our needs. Right? That's what makes the world such a special place, right? As opposed to other planets in our solar system that could not support life, Earth does that, and it does that in an incredible way. So that's the tallow in a nutshell, and we think that is so beautiful.
All right, that's cool. I wanted to, I was kind of blown away when you were talking about at the conference when we were chatting about like regenerative farming that happens in Minnesota, like locally, right? It's fairly locally. And I've read books on like this would be the ideal way to farm, but I hadn't heard yet about farmers actually doing it. So I was really excited to be like, they're putting this into practice. And then they're beef cattle, is that correct? Like
yes.
So they're getting every part of the cow is being used in some way, right? That's
correct.
Kind of how it goes. Okay.
Because when we first were on this journey, we would talk to butchers about, oh, hey, you're processing the cows. What do you do with the fat? What do you do? What do you do with the suet?
Yeah.
And they go, oh yeah, we just basically recycle it. We basically just compost it. We throw it out because there was no use stream for it. And it's this beautiful ingredient that can be used to elevate our lives. And a lot of times it's thrown out. So you think about how we can use the whole animal. We really, truly can. That's awesome. There's definitely an art to rendering the tallow because no one wants to go around smelling like a cow. No one wants to go around smelling like beef fat. No. So when you first tell somebody, hey, the skincare is made from beef fat, they kind of recoil and go, whoa. Be like, no, that's where the craftsmanship and understanding how we can work with the natural materials to actually produce a wonderful result. Because I think that's what my experience was growing up a lot of times was with the natural alternatives. It still wouldn't quite achieve the end to which I wanted it to, right? That's why I'm so passionate about some of our products because we've paid attention to the details enough for those natural products, and we've learned how to work with the natural products for them to actually deliver on the promise that we say. Like, yes, the body butter will moisturize your skin. That for sure is true. We know that's true because we're paying attention to the details. And one of the other ingredients that helps us deliver on that promise is the jojoba oil that we use. And the jojoba oil is a wonderful skincare ingredient because it very closely matches the sebum of the skin. So the naturally occurring moisturizer in the skin, the plant-based jojoba oil mimics that and moisturizes very, very well. So it pairs very, very well with the tallow. You control the ratio there to get you to a soft product that you can apply because suet, the fat around the organs, is naturally chalky in substance. So it would be very difficult to use that by itself. And so you pair that with a beautiful oil like the jojoba oil, and that's what gives life to this beautiful product that is applicable and, it has ingredients that you can understand. And so it's just tallow and jojoba oil and then some other either essential oils or infused, scents that we infuse into the tallow to give you just this beautiful unlocking of the senses as you're using it. So the frankincense and lavender is essential oil combination that it smells wonderful and is soothing. Yeah. The vanilla beans, the organic Madagascar vanilla beans that we infuse into the tallow just gives this depth and light vanilla scent that again elevates that simple moment of simply moisturizing your skin. And so the jojoba oil is a beautiful ingredient to kind of help deliver on that, and that sourced directly from the Arizona desert. So we like to keep things as close as possible, and so that's where the jojoba oil is very present, and that's where it's sourced. And so it's really great. Again, it's kind of a smaller family operation that's extracting the jojoba oil, and so we really try from a supply chain standpoint to find companies that align with our values, and we can then use their ingredients to elevate our products.
Ah, that's so fun. I didn't realize the jojoba oil was from so close as well.
Yes.
That's cool. As many things as possible. The vanilla is really cool. When Hannah was telling me about how you just put the vanilla beans, I think, in it, and it just takes on that scent. It's a fun scent because I love the vanilla, but sometimes essential oils can be a bit strong, but that method of doing things was really, really pretty.
Yeah, and I think what's the appeal of it is it's simple and understandable. Because you for the vanilla product, you look at the label and it's tallow, jojoba oil, and infused vanilla beans into the tallow, and you go, oh, that is extremely understandable. Yeah. We use a little vitamin E oil, which is directly extracted from sunflower seeds. Okay. It's non-GMO. Wow. And so that helps with the oxidation and slow that down, so you get just a better product for a longer amount of time after you start using it, these natural materials. But again, to use a natural vitamin E that works with our product is very understandable on the label. And so there's nothing that you have to kind of scrunch your eyes at and think about, which is really, really wonderful.
That's awesome. So look, when a lot of people think of this kind of natural, holistic skincare, or really anything like naturally based, oftentimes that price tag shoots way up as well with all those things. So I was just kind of curious if you could speak to like your experience of trying to go more natural. What does that expense side of things look like? And then I know your own products as well. You've been really intentional with how you formulated that. Yeah,
definitely. Our personal experience really has been to stop and look at our consumer habits. Because what we have seen is that our consumer habits actually swing how much we're spending much more than, say, the few dollar difference between the non-natural and natural alternative. And so it's really been a call for us to say, can we be satisfied with less? Can we be satisfied with less? A lot of times we convince ourselves that we need that one more thing or the three more things. This has been especially prevalent when we started having children, and just how many things are brought into our life as parents for our kids. And we realized that, moving that needle, if we can find products and brands that are aligned with that idea of delivering on what the product promises to be. So if I can trust that product to do the function it's designed and more, that actually moves the needle more, financially. So that's what's been great, and why Tallow was an unlock for us, because initially when we got into it, we were purchasing it and there was a very high price point. But it replaced so many synthetic products in our life that it simplified our life to a point where, okay, the higher price point was okay, but then we got to the point where we thought, well, there's actually way too much margin there. This isn't accessible for families. This is an elite price point. And so as we got into the business, we made a conscious effort, again, delivering on that beauty in the everyday moments, not profits first. And so that's really what guided us to making it accessible, because we truly believe that we want that message of enjoying each moment and entering into each small moment that you have. Don't live for the thing that's next, live for the moment that's right now. And we want that in front of as many people as possible. So how can we honestly drop our prices while still using the highest level of ingredients? It's to honestly be less greedy and to be okay with less. So how do we redefine the way that we're spending money that we can be okay with less? And that's been kind of that journey on the trade outs for naturals. They are usually a little bit higher, dealing with higher craftsmanship. It's a product that isn't mass produced. Bulk has a lower price tag with it, but we think there's an elevation of each moment that is worth it. And we're working hard to keep it as accessible as possible to all of our customers. And that's been very fun. And we've been seeing that in our personal life as well.
I really appreciate that, because I've looked into some beef tallow lines, and they can be really, really expensive. Where I'm like this better be a bottle, like a shampoo size bottle of tallow, if I'm, spending $100+ on this product. And I do appreciate that you guys keep it simple. And so far, I've been using it for a couple weeks now, and it lasts a lot. Like you're saying, the quality does make an impact. Like I don't need to reapply the lotion or things like that as often with the skincare, just because it's for face as well, because it works. So it's like I'm not having to constantly reapply it. It's like that softness and that the moisturizing does stay for longer, and that is nice to see that it's working. So that's going to save me money because in the long run, because it's working so efficiently. But then also you guys keeping your price point at a more accessible place is really nice as well.
Yeah, we find that when we're at markets and we're out talking with people and we've got testers sitting on the table, so often you can see what people's normal synthetic approach is to moisturizers. And they will take a sample of it, and I sit there and I look and go, that may be like a normal sample. Like from your synthetic moisturizer, the amount that you have on your finger right now is probably what you're used to using for maybe just your hand. And I look at them and I always tell them, hey, that's enough to do your hand, your arm, your other arm, and your other hand at least. And so they're sitting there now rubbing it all over because they're so used to the synthetic product that doesn't go as far. It doesn't do its job as well as the natural products. And so the tallow and the jojoba oil, they're behaving, I would say, alongside the body functions, like the natural hydrating and moisturizing functions of the skin. They're behaving alongside that instead of replacing it with a bunch of synthetic ingredients. And that, I think, is why you see and why your experience has been, that more goes farther than the synthetic alternative. And I think as long as you can find brands and companies that can deliver on that promise, that are intentional about their ingredients, that the trade-off actually, when you look at it, is not as high as the simple, hey, 2 ounces of the synthetic ingredient is $10. 2 ounces of this natural product is $20. That's twice the price. But what's the experience? How far does that 2 ounces get you? And is it, again, behaving as your body is meant to behave? Or is it replacing those bodily functions and actually requiring you to use more? Because guess what? At the end of the day, that synthetic mass-produced product, it's marketed, it's designed, usually, to use more. The company makes more if you use more. And we're saying, hey, we're a company that wants you to enjoy each moment of your day, not just simply buy more of our product. And so it's this really interesting balance of, yes, having a product business, but calling consumers to like call consumers out of what we're so conditioned to is this consumer mentality. Oh, I need that. I have to buy that. We're saying, no, think about things just a little bit differently, And you can approach this with just this joy and this freedom about, oh, look, I found this brand that does this, and sharing it with people. And that's been our experience of people close to us. So that's been really good.
Yeah, this has been something really interesting I've seen as a trend in a lot of companies that are very focused on ethics and being as natural as possible. I've seen a lot of them being like, buy less. I was like, this is a crazy approach for a brand that is selling products to take. But in some ways, it actually, from what I've seen, more and more companies, it's working for them because people don't want to spend as much. Like at the end of the day, people want to hold on to their dollar and they want something that works. And so I'm starting to see more companies expand, even though they're using this very counterintuitive model of I know I sell companies, buy less of the product, or I sell products, buy less of the product. But at the end of the day, it works because then people are excited to have that, that option and that, that support in their life, which lotions do frustrate me because a lot of them have that drying alcohols. So you'll have that initial softness and then your skin will be worse off after using them. And I feel like that is, one, it's terribly unethical because it's you're hurting the thing that you're claiming to help, and two, it's just really frustrating to have to be constantly reapplying lotion and stuff. So that has been something I've been I need better lotion, and so it's fun using something that is going to last a lot longer and just it smells good too and all that stuff.
Well, as business owners, Hannah and I have to get up every day and we have to look in the mirror and go, do we have a business that we believe in? Do we have a business that we're passionate about? Do we have a business that helps the people around us? Because that's what we're motivated by.
Yeah.
Right? And so if we went the other direction, I would fizzle out at some point.
Yeah.
I cannot sell somebody a bill of goods that's fake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I need to deliver, and we have, again, these experiences that we've talked about a little bit here have informed us. We just are so passionate about the things in our life. They have to mean something. They have to elevate the moments in our life, because that is around us. You know, I working in the corporate world as an engineer for so long, and seeing people retire from it and go, okay, yay, now go live your life. Like you've lived in the corporate environment for 40 years, and the message after 40 years is, okay, great, good job, now go live your life. Like, how many moments in 40 years have you passed by, right? And so that's where if we can opt into these small moments and enjoy them, then our life is all of a sudden so full of color and beauty that, again, why we hit it off so well was, again, you were talking about the idea of these magical moments in the ordinary, right?
Yes.
I was like, I am so glad that you're on this parallel path with us.
Yes.
Right? Which is just so incredible to see and to understand and to share that with you. It's been, it's just amazing.
It makes life so much better, because like life is so magical. There's so, like you're saying, there's so many little things, like putting on the skincare, which is like, it can be so beautiful and so rich. And that moment of bringing nature in, like that the hiking that you guys did, that bringing that nature inside, and a moment of like peace, and like just whatever it is. And I think it's easy to pass those moments by, but sitting and talking about it is like, it's so exciting.
It is.
It's fun. Okay, pivoting a little bit to the business side of things. What's the hardest part of starting a business or having a business like this, and what's the best part?
Yeah, they're actually very closely linked, I think. When I think about the best and the hardest part, is because I'll start with the hardest part, I guess. Again, with 4 little children, the communication between Hannah. We're running this business in our home. It's sharing a space with our home. We hope to expand soon, as we're recording this. But that part is the most challenging, because the communication stress that puts on Hannah and I is very challenging. Hey, what do we need to do? Because we both have different skills, which is the beautiful part of this. So we have our different roles within the business, which really makes it work. But what is our priority? What are we working on? Who's raising the children? Because we kind of trade those off. We've got little kids, right? 5 and under. And so there very much is that balance between the two of us and passing off of the responsibilities. That takes an incredible amount of communication. One of the reasons we wanted to start the business is because we forecasted our marriage. The reason we wanted to marry each other was because we did the old, who do I want to grow old with on the front porch rocker, right? And it was like, you. Totally, I pick you. And so we forecasted like, hey, we're going to make a lot of decisions. We're going to have a lot of moments between now and those old rocker days that we dream about, okay? What are we going to fill that time with? And we thought, hey, if we can learn how to communicate when it's really difficult, when we have to pass the children off, when we have to, come up with a priority list, and the priority list is 100 deep, but we only have time to work on 2 things, how do we work through that? That's going to make our marriage stronger. That's going to elevate our marriage so that when we do have those moments together when we're older, that they will be beautiful. That because we've been working on our marriage that whole entire time when it's extremely difficult now. So that's the hardest part for sure, but we chose it to be hard on purpose. Right?
There you go. Okay, that's cool.
And so the best part of our business is those aha moments that we get to share together. Because I don't have to opt out. I don't have to opt away from the person I love the most in the world. Because that's what got to be so difficult for me was every day I left the house, I left my wife, I love her the most in the world, and then we started having kids. I love them as well, so much more in the world. And all of a sudden I had to leave them for, 8 to 10 hours a day. So those aha moments that we get to share together, Hannah and I, by far the most rewarding. And when my little 3-year-old daughter comes in and wants to help place chapsticks, lip balms in the bin, like, Daddy, I want to help you. Those moments are so beautiful because we wanted to craft this family economy together to do this. And those moments have been so rewarding and definitely the best part.
Yay. I know. I loved hearing about, I think Hannah was talking about mixing up some of the, I don't know if it was a lotion or something, and using, mixing it up and having, I forget who she said, but one of the kids asking her, like, Mom, can I eat it? And she's like, I mean, you could, but like, I really wouldn't recommend, like, this is not frosting, even if it looks like it. And I was like, that is really special that you guys are starting a business. It's growing rapidly. People are loving the product, but actually the whole making process there's so much joy in that as well. Like, just from the very beginning of her mixing things up and being able to be with the kids and like, you guys all being together, that's really, it's been fun hearing about that as well. Being like, this is community. I was curious if you could talk to, I know you mentioned the local farmers, but I feel like a big piece of this, the company, like, yes, it's the products, but you also are creating a lot of community around it, like your family community, but also making connections with the local farmers, and just kind of, how has building those connections, how has that community looked? Because it expands so much beyond just the skincare.
Yeah, it's really been a lot of fun for us to grow the network, but do it almost without thinking. It's one of those things that happens naturally, that the Lord really opens these doors and makes these connections, again, rooted in Him. They're so beautiful. And it's so incredible to have our eyes opened really to other people that are producing, that are opting out of that consumer mentality of just consuming, and they say, no, we're putting a line in the sand, and we want to produce. We want to make the world a better place rather than just taking from the world. And so that's been really fun for us to meet, local farmers that are, again, trying to balance a full-time career, but with this passion to regeneratively raise cows and to process chickens that are regeneratively raised and roaming free, and just this beautiful life that these other families are trying to craft. That's been one beautiful side of it, for us to be invited into their lives to see what they're doing, which helps motivate us and kind of share those ideas and then bring those to our friends as well, and kind of, hey, if you're thinking about the food that you're bringing, find this farmer's market, which has, our friends are going to be there. So you could go look for them or talk to them. But even generically, like, you don't live close to us, find a farmer's market and know that there's a real family behind the food that's there. And I think there's just so much beauty in that. And then on the flip side of that, the other side of the community has been the brands and companies that wholesale our products.
Oh, awesome.
So that's been really fun to then learn, okay, you've got a physical storefront, you're interacting with your customers, but you share our vision and our love of the world as well. And so getting to know a lot of store owners, especially people local to us as well, those personal connections has been just incredible. And so, it's kind of been on both sides of the raw ingredient side, the more farming side, as well as the retail shop side, and kind of building those relationships. And that's been a lot of fun for us.
That's so good. I love the point too about consumer versus producer, because I think that this actually, it plays a role in so many aspects of life. But I thought about it a lot as, I don't know, like a content creator versus, scrolling on social media is very different than creating content, or sitting on YouTube for a long time versus making content. And so feeling, not everyone's supposed to be making YouTube videos or anything like that, but just being like, where am I called to produce things versus consume things? And that's been something kind of on my mind as well, just being like, I receive so much from this world. Like you're saying, there's so much goodness here, but where are we called to maybe build something to then share? We've been given so much, so what can we share? It's been like a big thing to think about in terms of the podcast, social media, books, whatever that might be, skincare. So it's fun to see all these different pieces and stuff.
Yeah, and even too, we were talking a moment ago about kind of the higher cost with natural goods, and how do you offset that a little bit? And how do you contextualize that really? Because when you compare, it's not always really the highest cost. But even I think learning and adopting that producer mentality, even on a very small scale. How do I buy products from brands? Here's a good one, for example, that have replacement parts. So my parents had a washer that failed. And there was a small component, a very small component on a circuit board that was the failure mode. And wouldn't you know it, the circuit board is never meant to be maintained. Because someone with basic, well, maybe not basic skills, but someone with skills could repair it. This one was absolutely not meant to. You would have to destroy the circuit board to be able to fix it. And so a whole new circuit board costs more than a new washer. Right?
What the heck?
Totally.
Like, what? Why?
Totally.
Yeah.
And so, okay, now the washer goes out. It sits in some bone pile, right? And so now we're throwing away all that metal. We're throwing away all that hardware simply because it wasn't meant to be maintained. Because we live in a consumer mentality, a consumer society that just says, yeah, if something small breaks, I'm just going to throw it away and buy a new one. How did it break? And it could be fixed. And then that all of a sudden puts some ownership on us. Again, every item in our life can mean something. I have ownership. I am a steward of that item. Just like the farmers are the stewards of the land and they're trying to regain that pasture land and raise healthy cows and keep the land in good shape. They're stewarding that land as God intended. Okay, let's say you don't own 1,000 acres of pasture, right? And you own a home. How many items, right? 1,000 items in that home. Might not be 1,000 acres you're stewarding, but let's say it's 1,000 items in that home. How are you stewarding those items?
Yeah.
And I think that can be a really neat kind of shift that can, again, make us go from pure consumers. We need things in our life, so we're going to consume some things, right? This is how it means to live. But how do we change that a little bit to be even producers in our own right? And how can we take a little bit more ownership and care, stewardship of the things that we have in our life?
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of like, how do we care for what we have? I think you guys talked about this a little bit on your website as well. Like some of the products, the more natural products, you actually do have to put a little bit more care into. Maybe they take a little bit more upkeep. The actual wood might, you might need to oil it or whatever you do to take care of that more often. And I've noticed this with real leather coats as well. My brother and I went to Italy and to like Florence, and he's like, I want like a legit leather jacket, which is so cool. But the guy was like giving him a list of this is how you take care of real leather. It's, it's something that requires something from you, not just a look. It's not just, the plastic that's going to stay exactly how it is. And I think that it's really interesting looking at, even as a consumer, there's that, like you're saying, there's that producer side of things, or that stewardship at least, of being like, if I've been gifted something really, that has layers of meaning, and it requires of something of me as well, which I think is really an interesting shift in the way we see the things around, the material things around us. And I don't know, it's exciting because I think it's just like more interactive and more, it's a way of being more present, really. It's like you're interacting more with those ingredients.
Yeah, and I would take it one step further because there's some care that's required.
Yeah.
Like our wooden utensils, like you mentioned, great example of this.
Yeah.
Because let's compare a wooden spatula, right? I was making the utensils for a little while, but then I couldn't keep up. So we had to find a partner who would make them the way that we wanted them to be made. If I were making them, okay, how would they be made? Okay. With care and intentionality and no synthetic oil finishes. So we wanted to opt out of mineral oil. It's a petroleum byproduct. Again, food safe, but in what quantity? Okay, so we're like, let's opt out of that from a wood finish. So we had to find a company who would deliver the to them unoiled so that we could finish them with our wood restore. And we ended up finding a company in Pennsylvania, a small family-run company called Jonathan Spoons, who makes them from Pennsylvania cherry.
Oh.
And I could not be more thrilled with how that relationship has evolved and the wooden utensils that they make. So if you compare that the wooden utensils, the wooden spatula, say, that they make for us, and let's say your normal off-the-shelf plastic utensil, right? It requires no upkeep, no maintenance, no anything. You want to flip your pancakes or your eggs, you just grab it out of the crock and you flip with it, no problem, nothing. And then you wash it and you put it back. There's this kind of separation from the item itself. It's a pass-through moment, right? Whereas what we see with the wooden utensils is they come out of the box and we oil them, and even the first oiling brings the grain of the wood to life in a way that absolutely reminds me every time that look at the beauty that was in the tree that God created, that grew in his environment, that now through human ingenuity has been crafted into something that I can bring into my life. And the oil, the wood restore brings that grain to life and the beauty. And every piece is different. Yeah. Every grain is different. It reminds me of human nature. Every human is different, right? There's a beauty there and there's a connection. So they're like, oh, I'm seeing some beauty in there versus every spatula, every plastic spatula that was made of that brand is the exact same. It is the exact same. It is a clone of itself. There's no individual fingerprint mark. Because like some variation, sometimes there's a specific guy at Jonathan Spoon's who finishes the utensils. So if he's shaping it a little bit differently that day, it might have a slightly different curve to it, right? Generally of the same shape, but there's still a fingerprint of the maker who made that spoon, right? A reflection of God in us as humans. It's like you can see this just deeper meaning in even just this simple thing as a wood spoon or wood spatula. And then it requires some care because wood will dry out over time. And so every couple weeks you take, I do it after it dries overnight, right? Okay. Sitting there dry. I washed it the night before and it's sitting there dry. I take a little bit of the wood restore, just re-oil it quickly. Takes about 15 seconds. And then it goes right back into the crock and it dries out. That wood restore soaks into the wood grain and just refurbishes it and brings it back to life. And then what we see, as we've been using these utensils for quite a few years now, is they develop a wonderful patina over time.
Oh, that's cool.
So what was a beautiful utensil out of the box is actually 5 years in an even more beautiful utensil.
Oh, yes.
With a little bit of care, it develops this deeper brown color. You can see the heat marks from the pan, right? That it's being used. And now with the plastic spatula, what was a Passover moment, just grab it, flip it, move on, wash it, do it again, is now all of a sudden I take care of this. Oh, this is beautiful. And there's just that added level of intentionality and it just elevates that simple moment of, again, flipping eggs for the kids who are extremely hungry right now. It's like, hey, here's my quick moment and oh, that was good.
A moment of beauty now.
It just leaves you with that feeling of, yes, I'm taking care of this and it's now even better. And so it elevates that simple moment of flipping the eggs or flipping the pancake. And so a little bit of care in our life can, again, elevate us and give us some intentionality, some connection to what's around us. Because I think we've lost that. I'm reminded of my grandma's story because my grandma was born in 1930. Okay. And yeah, at the time of this recording, she's still living and it's wonderful to talk to her. I'm so blessed by her, her effect in my life.
Yeah.
And it's been so good. And so she tells this wonderful story when she was in high school in rural Iowa, western Iowa, that right before Christmas, they were all set up for electricity, right? So this is the transition away from, candles and kerosene and coal to electricity, right? And so they had everything hooked up except for the electric company was short on transformers. And so 2 days before Christmas, they finally got the transformer installed and electricity was active for the first time in my grandma's life on the farmhouse.
Whoa.
And she talks about how big a deal it was. Her dad had to go to 2 towns to buy a stringer of 8 light bulbs to put on the Christmas tree for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
8 light bulbs.
8 light bulbs. And it was and still is to me, I think about that story so often because in the way she even tells the story now, you can tell it's just burned into her memory. This care and this awe and this wonder of, again, what I look at now is a purely simple string of lights. And so I think there's something beautiful about that by, again, caring for the things in our life that we can have the sense of wonder and appreciation for even the simplest things. Because, it totally is a miracle that we can just plug Christmas lights into an outlet and boom, it lights up the room, right? I mean, absolutely incredible. So I always love that, and it reminds me to enjoy the things and to care for the things that I have in my life.
Not take them for granted. Oh, I love like fairy lights, Christmas lights, any kind of like little twinkling lights. I'm like, this is so magical, and it is cool being like, they had 8 lights, and it was so special. Now we have them all over. Like, I'll see them in a new way now.
Good. You can join me in that. That's good.
Yeah, it's great. So beautiful. I was like, which question next? But I think I want to ask if there's anyone else who's interested in doing something like this, maybe starting a company. They want to do it more naturally, more, very ethically. Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it starts with a prayer life. We've been so attuned to the way that the Lord is opening doors for us. And what that does too is that then allows us to accept the flaws and the strengths that we have all together.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, Lord, I am who I am. I am a little broken in this area, but I'm strong in this area. How do you want me, and what do you want me to bring to the world? And how can I do it in a way that glorifies you?
Yeah.
You know, through the kind of starting of this all, the story of the Garden of Eden is so prevalent in our life and how we look at things, because again, God created it and it was good.
Yeah.
And so how do we behave, and how do we cooperate with the way that God has set up the world and intends for us to live? And that starts with a conversation, a daily conversation with Him, so that way we can hear His voice and go through the doors that He opens. And that has been truly freeing, because I can give Him both my strengths and my weaknesses and say, okay, Lord, let's do something with this. And to live in that freedom allows us to then opt in and to move forward, knowing that, yep, He's got us. And so, because we've said this multiple times, you know, we very much opt out of the social media. We've got some small presence, but we don't opt into it very much. It's just not we don't enjoy the interactions as much, right? They're not nearly as meaningful as the ones we have in person. And I've said multiple times to Hannah, I said, yeah, and if that causes the business to fail, right? If that's the thing that causes my business to go under, then the world's not ready for this. And the world's not a place for Schneider Goods Co. And that's all right, Lord, you got something else for us if that's the case. And so there's a freedom there operating within the Lord's bounds to go, yep, absolutely, infinity is the limit. But then if something ends up coming short, like He's got something else for us too. So there's a great security there. So I'd say for anyone starting out, you gotta start there. You really do.
With the prayer life. Oh, that's so good. And a phrase that comes to mind is like the freedom of a sacramental life. Because, I don't know, I guess there's this vision of, when you view the world through like sacramentality, this idea of like, you don't just see the thing, but like you're saying, you see the Creator, you see the fingerprint of a God who loves you in the wood. And there's like, so you're not just seeing a wooden spoon, you're seeing so many layers of beauty within that one moment. Or you're not just seeing the skincare, there's so many layers of beauty. That's a very, I guess, sacramental life, where you're looking not just at something, but also through it a little bit deeper. And it seems like there is a lot of freedom that can come with that, of just not just living on the surface, but being present and then seeing a little bit past that. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, because that's how we've let our faith really lead us in our business endeavors. Is that sacramental worldview is, again, it's imbued in everything that we do. It's the answers that we see. It's where we see God working. It's why we can see, the small things can lead us to Him. And that very much has directed the way that Hannah and I run the business. And I think we are paying very close attention to how our faith integrates with our business, because we very much want it to be an authentic offspring of the way that we see the world and the way that we love Christ and the way that we love His church, rather than just a marketing slogan, right? Like, oh, here's a Christian tallow business, right? No, what we want it to do first, which is why we were intentional about the name. Like, you don't see anything about Christ or the church or our faith in the name Schneider Goods Co. Because we want to live as a holy family first, Schneider, right? And we want to produce goods for the world that can lead others to Christ. And so we very much want to do that in an authentic way, based on who we are, not something that we craft and present, but just by the way that we live our life. You know, can we produce and elevate people's moments? Because the ultimate goal, right, is that nothing that this world has to offer, no good, no service, anything, nothing that this world can offer can elevate our moments like the love of Jesus Christ. Right?
Yeah. Amen. I love that. Holistic. It sounds like the goal and the way the company's lived out is very holistic, and like you want it to be organic. Like there's no fragmentation of life, like life experience versus, you know, what you're portraying. You want something holistic. You want something organic and rich. So that's beautiful. But, wow. Okay. So if someone wants to go get a Schneider Goods product, how do they find you? Where can they go shopping? And maybe what's one product they could start with that might be kind of fun?
Yeah, definitely. sell a lot online. We've got a great website, and it's a great for education as well. So any further questions about anything we've talked about today, absolutely can be probably answered. Otherwise, know that Hannah and I are on the other side of an email. So hello@schneidergoodsco.com is our email, and Hannah and I are there answering questions, running the business, and so it's a wonderful way to interact with people. Anytime we hear directly from people, it's a highlight of our day. So definitely reach out. Anyone can if they've got any questions.
Sweet.
But schneidergoodsco.com is our website.
Okay.
So that's a great place to find us. Some Instagram content. We do have a page at Schneider Goods Co.
Okay.
And so that can also be a way to find out more about what we're about and how we present. And definitely anyone wanting to try products, I've always been very particular about the lip balm. Tallow lip balm with a little bit of beeswax. It's just an incredible product. It's not one that leaves your lips wanting more. Lip balm. It's one that really hydrates your lips and takes care of the skin. And so I love it. I've always been disappointed by a lot of natural lip balms. And so I spent a lot of time working on this one. And it really very much does deliver on the ability to hydrate and to take chapped lips and bring them back to life again. So that's a great place to start. But then our body butters made from tallow and jojoba oil, like we talked about at the beginning, those are also great to start with. And we've got even small sample size tins for people, which is really fun. We think there's an opportunity for someone to say, hey, you don't want to spend, $18 to $22 on a small jar. What about $4 or $5 to see? Because again, with the individuality of each person's skin, yes, tallow is a great product. Might it be great for everybody? No, it might not be. Right? And so here's a chance for a very small investment to say, hey, do these high quality ingredients, do they moisturize my skin? Do they take care of my skin like I want them to? And even that small amount in that small tin goes a long way. So people really can get a good opportunity to try it.
Yay. I love that you guys have those. So I have a tip now for anybody who's interested. I get the little tins just so that I can throw them in my purse. And then I have my bigger jar that I just put whatever I want in from there. So I really love the little sample packs that you guys have. So I recommend, and if anyone's looking for flavors, the vanilla I think it's really nice because it's got infused vanilla. I actually also like the unscented though, because I'm not a big scents person, and the unscented, it's smooth, it's fresh, it's really nice. So I'll throw my little recommendations in there as well.
Very good.
But, well, thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing all about this. It's just so exciting what you guys are doing and how you're expanding and the ways that the Lord is working through the company and through your family. So thanks for sharing all that.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me today. It's so much fun to talk about these ideas. Yeah. Hannah and I bounce them off each other all the time, but to get out and actually talk through these with you is just absolutely a joy. So thank you for having me on today.